The destruction continues in Gaza, in economic terms, in social terms, and above all else in human terms. On the surface there appears no imminent breakthrough for long-term peace. In the meantime, the population of Gaza continues to struggle to come to terms with the sheer scale of damage. But British and international efforts to try to get a cessation of the conflict continue unabated. Both the Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary and other Foreign Office ministers are maintaining the diplomatic pressure.
We've been working intensively since the crisis began to end the violence. But as everyone in the House is all too well aware, the situation is not improving. The Palestinian death toll has passed 1,000, including a chilling 300 children, and dozens more rocket attacks have been fired into Israel in recent days. This conflict has had a devastating impact on innocent civilians, women and children amongst them. Gazans have no way of escaping the violence. They are trapped as services collapse still further, food and medicines dwindle, and violence surrounds them. But, Mr. Deputy Speaker, this did not begin on the 27th of December. For many months, rockets fired from Gaza have terrorised the citizens of southern Israel, and Gazans have lived under the suffocating restrictions which have deprived them of even the basics. The Gaza ceasefire between June and December 2008 provided only a very limited lull. Over 300 rockets and mortars were fired into Israel. Over 15 Palestinians were killed as a result of Israeli action. And the humanitarian situation in Gaza continued its decline. Few were surprised when this unhappy lull finally cracked. First in November, and finally with Hamas declaring it dead on the 18th of December, followed by firing almost 300 rockets in 8 days. Hamas made a brutal choice. They chose to step up attacks against innocent civilians. Their whole ethos is one of violence. They have rejected the legitimate Palestinian Authority and ejected them by force from Gaza. Nothing, not the restrictions on Gaza, not the frustration with the peace process, justifies what Hamas have done and continue to do.
There were, he said, genuine fears of the conflict widening.
It is also the case, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that one of my real fears is that current actions risk fuelling extremism in the region and undermining those who argue for negotiation and peace. It is also the case, Madam Deputy Speaker, because there does need to be a balance in this debate, that we do need to be absolutely clear that Hamas is not a benign organisation. It commits acts of terrorism. It is committed to the obliteration of the State of Israel, and its statement last week that it was legitimate to kill Jewish children anywhere in the world was utterly chilling and beyond any kind of civilised humanitarian norm. Madam Deputy Speaker, all of this has to stop. A ceasefire is an absolute imperative if innocent civilians are to be spared. We have long called for an end to the rocket attacks on Israeli civilians and for greater access to Gaza. And since the Israeli operation began, we have consistently called for an immediate and sustainable halt to the violence, and we have been at the forefront of those arguing for this to stop. Finally, we have to re-energise the peace process. This crisis is an indictment of the international community's collective failure over years and decades, not just months, to bring about the two-state solution and to create a positive vision for the future.
The solution at this stage appears a long way off, but the debate and the attempts to get a peace process working again will continue here until that breakthrough happens.